Where the bad pianos start the show, keys all out of tune, just watch them go. Welcome to Adam and Joe talking nonsense on the Outside Scoop podcast show.
Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Outside Scoop.
The Outside Scoop.
With me, Joe, and him, Adam.
Whoa, well then.
That was a more professional intro.
Oh, wasn't it just?
I think no phones going off.
No phones, no interruptions, no nonsense.
No nonsense, no YouTube claps.
Let's see. We could do a clap. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
And we're live.
And we're like, immediate tinnitus. Give me tinnitus.
Did it really?
Yeah, my ear's ringing now. Did it too close to my head. Stupid madness. So, today's topic. Where shall we go?
I think you had some things you might have wanted to start off with.
Well, I think I want to talk about our ambitions.
Yeah.
I only want to dip our toes into it.
Yeah,
only dip
broad
our toes.
strokes.
But yeah, just the ideas. But I want to start with ambitions, inspirations. I think.
Okay.
Because this has been inspired by. Well, we mentioned it last time quite heavily. We mentioned it in the last podcast. The Jag. I thought, I've said this a few times now, and there's a few people who go, "Oh, you said that the other day," which I did. I thought the Jag was going to be my main course. I've always been into motorbikes.
Okay.
I love motorbikes. Can't get enough of motorbikes.
Yeah.
I've always been one that doesn't lust after things I can't afford. Mm-hmm. I can appreciate a Ferrari. I can appreciate a Ducati Panigale, but I don't lust after them because they're expensive items, obviously. A Ferrari more so than a Panigale. You could say a Ducati Panigale is more accessible, but it's still £25,000 on a motorbike. So I don't lust after things I can't afford. And I thought the Jag was going to be my main course. I thought the Jag would be enough for me. And what I've worked out is that it's not even a starter. It's barely even a amuse-bouche. What the Jag actually is a gateway drug. That's what I've actually worked out. The Jag is it's been an absolute gateway drug. I've never been into cars.
Yeah.
Like, I've been into them to appreciate them.
Yeah. You've always been a bike person.
Yeah, I've always been a bike person. I've never been I want cars in my life.
Yeah.
I've never been that person. And now, I just can't get enough of them.
Yeah.
At the moment, I'm working on the Jag, and I love the Jag.
Yeah.
But I want a Porsche. I want a 911 now.
Yeah.
That's like the next.
911.
A 911. Nothing special. Bog standard. I think they're 3.6.
Yeah.
A bog standard 996 Carrera would do me fine. 12, 15 grand. It's still a lot of money.
Still a lot of money.
But, that's where I want to get next.
Yeah.
They're bloody lovely.
Yeah.
But cars. Oh.
Cars are great.
Can't get enough of them. The thing that's really inspired me, there's 2 YouTubers that have inspired me. It really inspired me to make this happen.
Yeah.
One of them is an American lad called Ronald Finger. He's got a channel called Fingerprints Workshop. He's only a young lad.
Is he the one with that car you showed me over
He's
Christmas?
got a Pontiac Fiero.
The Pontiac,
Fiero?
that's it. Yeah.
Fiero, I think it is. It's got what they call the Iron Duke engine. It's a sort of a 2.5, 3 litre 4-cylinder petrol engine.
Yeah.
The style of his videos I find really engaging. He sort of does a summary, shows a bit of work, and talks about the work rather than it being live. The way he edits them, I find really engaging. He does the video, but then narrates over the top, saying what he's doing and things like that. So I like that. But the real inspiration, and I know he had a head start because of other things that he's done, but was Alex Kirsten from Auto Alex. And he was obviously on, people who know, he was on Car Throttle to start with, left there and started up his own thing. Now, he had the head start because of Car Throttle.
Right.
But, my aim at the moment is to start pushing some recording stuff we're doing in the barn.
Yeah.
I can start filming what I'm doing on the Jag, then on the motorbike, and the things we're doing on the Range Rovers as well. In an interesting way, not just a factual, this is what we're doing type of way.
Yeah.
That would be a great place to be for me.
Yeah.
If we could make like, yeah, money side of it, bit of hobby money, bit of pocket money would be lovely.
Yeah.
If we could just not get it to pay for itself because these things are expensive, but just tick it over.
Yeah.
That's a great aim, I think.
It's something to aim for.
And this is the start. This is the start of us getting our confidence up to do stuff like this, because this is so far out of our wheelhouse. This kind of stuff.
Never done anything like this before.
Never done anything like this.
No. That's why it took so long just to do the first one. But they say, don't they, the hardest thing is starting.
Yeah, yeah. The
When it
biggest
comes
step
to
is the first.
All aspects of life, whether it's doing things like this,
Get
dieting,
a new job, dieting,
jobbing,
exercising, marriage,
drugs.
Yeah. The biggest step is the first step.
Take the first step, and
once you've done it,
yeah,
it's
and then you're doing it.
Yeah.
And you can always improve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can always make it. You've got to start that. Nobody's ever any good at something the first time they do it.
No.
That's why there's 2 versions of the first podcast that we uploaded. Because the first one, I spent an hour getting it all ready, sorting it out, upload. It takes like an hour to upload.
Yeah.
Got it all uploaded, played it, can't hear it.
Can't hear it.
So, you know, we're learning things. We're learning as we go.
Yeah. And you love YouTube, don't you?
I don't watch normal telly.
Like you love YouTube.
Yeah, I love YouTube.
I'm not really into YouTube. Like I might watch a video shared with me, but I don't actively kind of search YouTube for content.
All I watch is YouTube.
And that's just the way I am. It's nothing against YouTube or anything
I don't really enjoy non-fiction. No, that's wrong. The other way around. I don't really enjoy fiction. I like the big fiction. I like Lord of the Rings and you know, the big stories like that. But I'm not into dramas. I'm not into Downton Abbey and stuff like that. That's not me. I've always enjoyed watching somebody do something.
Yeah.
Before YouTube, I was always trying to catch every episode of Wheeler Dealers and things like that. That's what I always tried to catch.
Back when the Discovery Channel was...
Yeah, it wasn't Ancient Aliens.
Yeah. Yeah. And this probably almost links back to what we were talking about in episode 1, where television used to be pretty cool,
better.
didn't it?
Yeah, it used to be better. And now it's...
Like Discovery Channel was about history and learning.
About discovering.
And all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Think about... In fact, this is linking into a well-known TV angler, Matt Hayes. I think I said to you this a few weeks ago. On his Facebook page, he's been trying to... I think out of a want for his followers, I think it was mentioned to him, let's do another rod race.
Great rod race, isn't it? Yeah.
Which, for those that don't know, is a TV show, sort of mid-2000s.
Yeah.
Where him and Mick Brown, a.k.a. The Duke...
great bit of telly.
Yeah, we'd just go around the country, fishing different lakes, rivers, streams, out on the boats, trying to catch different species. Always catch and return.
Great to watch.
And it's just relaxing TV.
Yeah.
And I think it's something which Clarkson's Farm, I think, does quite well.
Yeah, I think Clarkson's Farm did it.
Just wholesome television.
Yeah, James May's stuff did it as well.
Yeah.
Like he's our man in, what did he do? Italy and Japan and
India.
India. Yeah, India. Yeah, and he's those things. Not so much his cooking stuff, and that, you know, the reassembler, that was nonsense, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? I think that was him giving the BBC the finger. But yeah, good, enjoyable telly that you know, it's not over exaggerated drama all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not into that,
Which
is why I like the YouTube niche that I've developed. It's taken me quite a few years to massage my niche in YouTube that I watch, but.
Yeah, the algorithm's got you down now, haven't they?
Yeah, it knows the stuff that I like. I don't get any of the clickbaity crap. I don't get any of the, you know, most things I watch haven't got more than 750,000 views.
Yeah.
Because that's the stuff I find interesting, because it is more factual, it's more informative, that's the stuff I like, which is where I want, you know, this to go.
Yeah.
The outside scoop won't, there'll be other things, but...
Other things.
Yeah.
The bonnet scoop.
The bonnet scoop, maybe.
Yeah, I'm
we'll
thinking the names off the top of my head there.
We might brainstorm that off mic.
But yeah, you want to develop it more, and I'm up for it.
Yeah.
I'm up for anything. Between us, we're not unconfident people.
We're quite comfortable. We're mid-level,
And
we'll get up and karaoke.
Yeah.
But we won't get up and karaoke and be offended if people think it was crap.
Yeah.
That's where we are.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I think we've developed we understand who we are. We understand our comfort levels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that comes with age, that as well.
Well, you tend to care less.
Yeah.
I definitely care less the older I get.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Appreciate yourself more. Love yourself more.
Yeah. Yeah. Self-loving.
Yeah. Not really so bothered about other people's opinions.
Well, I've definitely felt the horrors, the hangover horrors. They're easing.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was younger, that was a powerful time. My brain had run out of happy juice in the mornings.
Happy juice.
Yeah. Yeah. As you get older, yeah, you definitely. Anyway, where were we headed with this?
I think so. You're just talking about your inspirations and your goals
Yeah.
and how you'd like to.
So that was it. I was talking about Auto Alex,
Yeah.
Alex Kirsten. So he had a big jump up, didn't he? He had a big boost from his work on Car Throttle. He developed that, and
again,
then,
this is something you know more about than I do.
Yeah.
Because you've followed him through.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
guessing from his, from when he
not
started.
from his inception, but I've probably watched him since 2015.
Yeah.
Starting on from, cause he's a proper journalist. He's a proper car journalist. I
didn't know that.
Yeah, he did the degree, and he's worked for Autocar and all that stuff. But what I see is a bloke with videos that do, on average. Now this is a lot. I'm not saying this isn't a lot. What this is though is attainable, in the same way that it's quite obtainable if you put the work in to be upper middle class. To earn the £100,000 mark, if you put the effort in, and a stroke of luck. But 300,000. If he gets, he says 300,000 views is his threshold. That's what he needs to get. If he gets 300,000 views on a video, he's doing well. He said that's what he needs, and the money that can bring in can pay for our hobbies. Because cars are not cheap hobbies.
Nope.
Even motorbikes ain't cheap hobbies.
Nope.
Yeah, motorbikes are considerably cheaper, but the problem with cars is I've always stayed away from them. And now that we're doing it, they're addictive. I can't get enough of them. Yeah. We, for those that don't know, Joe and I have been friends since 1998 we met, didn't we?
25 plus years.
Yeah. We've been friends all that time, but we've never lived closer than 200 miles together. When we were at school, Joe's family moved to the other side of the country. So, as we said on the first episode, I lived in Southend. Joe's family moved to Southend. We met in senior school. Towards the end of senior school, Joe's family moved back to Weston-super-Mare. And that's pretty much been our minimum distance ever since. We lived, that's 200 miles away from each other.
You did spend 18 months in Weston, didn't you?
I spent a wild 18 months in Weston.
Yeah, a whirlwind.
A whirlwind of a time with a terrible ex-girlfriend and just mad stuff going on. Awful job, but yeah, Joe and I made the best of that while I lived there. I moved back to Southend. Joe met his wife, and they took off. I spent some time in France, and then 6 years ago, was it 2018 you moved up here?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2018 Joe moved up to Cumbria.
End of 17 it was, into 18, yeah.
That was it. And I moved to Kent to meet, I met my wife. She lived in Kent, so I moved there. Joe moved up to Cumbria. So it's only been the last 18 months that we've lived within an hour of each other. We've always lived miles away from each other.
Miles.
The point of the story is, we now live within an hour of each other, and the banter has gone to extreme levels. We've got too many cars.
Unhealthy amounts.
Too many projects. And, we're living the life that mates should do, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting Joe in trouble, that's quite good fun.
Always getting me in trouble. But I've got someone to blame now.
Yeah, he's got someone to blame now. Before I
can now blame you.
Blames me for it. I take the blame.
Yeah.
I take the blame. So yeah. And it's addictive.
It's addictive.
It's addictive. Just this mucking about with cars and bikes.
Yeah. It is. It's
Can't get
good
enough of
fun,
it.
and I think it's fun that could be shared with others. We don't take ourselves
Absolutely.
too seriously.
No, not at all.
We're not trying to say we're better than anybody else. At
We don't know
anything.
what we're doing.
No.
We don't know. We've got some good guidance in people. My dad, with the hobby side of things, the vehicles and the working. Yeah, my dad.
He's a fountain of knowledge, isn't he?
He is with that stuff. Yeah.
So we get a problem. We come find the problem.
We'll
We
all-
can't quite work it out. We'll Google it. We'll search it. We'll
Yeah.
look at the forums. Try and find a video.
And when we can't,
Yeah.
we just ring him.
Just ring him.
We just ring. How do I do this? And he tells us, and then we
Yeah.
fix it,
Yeah.
and then it's done.
Should have called him first.
Yeah, should have just called him, but you don't, do you?
No, if we could just get him sat in the corner,
Yeah,
get him a little bench.
just sit in the corner, feed him coffee and biscuits, and he can just tell us what
yeah.
to do.
Yeah. Simon,
How do I do this bit? You just do it. That's what he usually says. You just do it.
just take it out.
Just take it out. It's
Just
only
put it
nuts and
together.
bolts.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, it's yeah. Fair play. Like, yeah, that's your inspiration and motivation to do this.
Well, that's what this is. This is. Yeah.
I think I disagreed with you. I don't think I think you drove this more than me.
Well, I think no. You and I have always been quite good at rabbiting.
Yeah.
We don't talk to our wives. We don't
Never.
tell them what's going on.
Never.
But yeah, you and I can sit down in a quiet room and work
Yeah.
and talk.
Yeah.
And that's what this is. That was the inspiration. You said we need to record this, and I said, well, if you buy the microphones, I'll do the back work.
I think it kind of almost goes back to kind of lockdown.
Do you?
And I don't think I want to talk about lockdown too much and coronavirus and all that sort of stuff, but sort of around that time, I think voice notes became a thing, didn't they?
We've always been able to talk.
Yeah.
Me and you together. We've
Yeah.
never struggled to fill the silence. But with lockdowns where we couldn't go out, it was because work died for
Yeah.
all of us.
Yeah.
So you do the bits and pieces of admin to catch up, and then it's like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we had a couple of little groups going on at the time, and it
Yeah.
was constant
Voice notes.
voice notes. Because with a voice note, you can. Well, you're not engaged you're not tied to the conversation. You can get on with your day. You can get on with your day.
Yeah. You can get on with it, and I'd listen back to them sometimes. I thought it was quite entertaining listening to listening to these voice notes over the course of a day, whether there be others involved or not. I always thought, it's just candid. The word.
It's real, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just real chat.
It's a recorded conversation.
And I listened about it, I was like, I should put that on YouTube or on the internet.
On the internet. Yeah.
And other people might find that interesting. And that's all it is. You
Well-
know, if a few other people find this interesting, it's done good.
Yeah.
And
There's a lot to be said for listening. People don't listen to the radio like they used to. I don't think. Not in my experience. A lot of people that I know and have known won't put the radio on when they get in the car. They'll put a podcast on. Or they'll put a YouTube video on quiet in the background, and where it's just not. The radio's fine, but it can get repetitive, and I think a lot of people have tired that repetition. People I know, my brother's a lorry driver, and he listens to hundreds of podcasts, hundreds of them. If we can be one of those podcasts that a load of lorry drivers listen to, there's an audience.
there's an audience.
There's an audience. The audience is there. They just need to wait for us to start rabbiting.
Just that's it. But yeah, it's the no.
Go on.
No, it's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone.
Oh no!
And this is the unedited.
This is unedited.
This is how it is.
This is how. Yeah.
It's just real, not real chat. Oh, it's real hard hitting chat.
Real hard knowledge.
But you just lose your train of thought sometimes,
Sometimes you do. Yeah.
and that's the reality of it.
Yeah. Still. Right. What have we got? Let's give us.
So
These are things that we've been wanting to talk about.
I guess we've been talking about cars. We can sit with cars for another little bit because
hang about with cars, can't we?
I think hydrogen engines are the future.
Yeah.
I don't think it's electric. I don't think it's. I think there's maybe it's part of the solution, electric cars, but I think hydrogen engines are the answer.
They're definitely part of the solution.
Yeah.
I don't think, unlike the petrol and diesel engine, the petrol and diesel engines have been tailored to work for specific solutions, haven't they? I think going forward with electricity, we're going to need different solutions for different problems.
Yeah.
The solution of driving to the supermarket, or the problem of driving to the supermarket, is a different problem from towing a caravan to your campsite.
Yeah.
They're different problems that at the moment the diesel and petrol engine can provide the solution to both.
Yeah.
Although neither are particularly efficient for either problem. My wife had a Renault Zoe. She had a car accident last year and she had a Renault Zoe, and I thought it was a great little car for doing round towns, going to the shops. You don't need anything else. Literally do not need anything else. That little Renault Zoe that does 100 miles to a charge, like for my wife driving 10 minutes up the road every day, a petrol engine is a waste of energy. Little electric car is perfect, but for anything else, completely useless.
Yeah.
Completely useless, especially, and this is something that everybody's going to think is obvious, with the current charging network.
Yeah, we don't have the infrastructure for it.
We don't have an infrastructure to
No.
do it. And from what I understand, even the base of the infrastructure, the cross-country wires coming into the substations and the substations into the towns and villages, and even that isn't powerful enough to do what we need it to do. It's not there. So I don't know where. I don't think that can be the future.
I don't think it can be the future as well. It's the, like I say, it's good for going about town.
Yeah.
20-minute drive.
It's got its perks, but
Maybe anything up to 100 miles.
I think 100 miles is too much.
Do you?
If it's got a 100-mile range, you're only really going 50 miles away from home.
Yeah.
And in winter, you're only really going 30 miles away from home. Because that's another thing that...
Unless you've got to chuck in 4 or 5 hours of charging, which you don't want to do on a relatively short trip, do you?
Who's got time to wait?
I know they can get fast charging.
Capitalism doesn't allow for waiting,
No,
does it?
it doesn't.
It doesn't allow for waiting.
Not productive that time.
No.
It's not productive. You can go sit at the services, but you're not going to do it. And not to say people don't do it. I see more and more electric cars on the road every day.
Yeah, but that, for me, that's too much of a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Every second of my life is valuable, and I'm not wasting it waiting.
And you know what I'm like? I'm bad enough keeping fuel in the car.
Oh, God.
And
I ain't rescuing you with an electric car.
well, I barely remember to put fuel in the car.
Yeah.
I'm not going to remember to plug in my car every day.
You're just not going to do it, Joe.
I'm just not going. It's just not part of who I am.
No,
it's
not.
I just always forget. I'm always running on fumes.
Yeah.
Always can never be bothered to get out of the car.
No,
Or-
even if you pull up at home and the charging lead is in front of you,
yeah, I won't charge it.
you won't take the 2 seconds it takes to plug it in.
No.
Because it's just you.
Just won't do it.
You just won't do it.
Just won't do it.
No.
And I think companies like JCB, they've done some phenomenal stuff with hydrogen engines.
This is the thing, going on to the hydrogen.
Yeah,
It feels like a no-brainer,
yeah.
doesn't it?
I think the only problem there is in terms of delivering the hydrogen, but we've got people working on that. We have maybe using the current national grid, gas grid, to deliver hydrogen,
that's really interesting.
using some clever dark magic to separate hydrogen and natural gas. So that we can have it at pumping stations or...
It's really interesting, that the idea that the infrastructure is already there,
Yeah,
and it's already a system that moves flammable gases.
yeah,
So why won't it work?
yeah.
Well, they're saying it will work.
And it would just be... There'd be no change in the way in which you operate a car.
No.
You still go to the fuel station. You still
Yeah.
plug in your... put the pump in.
Well, we've been doing it with LPG for years, haven't we?
Yeah.
Done.
and you'll fill your car, you go pay the guy, pick up a pasty,
Yeah.
and off you go.
Carry on with your day.
And you're not waiting around.
The other thing is, they say the hydrogen, it takes more energy to, they call it hydrogen extraction, don't they?
Yeah.
To create the pure hydrogen, it takes more energy than you do get out of it. But it's sort of, yeah, maybe it does take more energy, but that energy is electricity.
Yeah.
And electricity is more and more being charged by wind, solar and nuclear.
Yeah.
So in actual fact, yeah, it does take more energy, but this isn't about efficiency. This is about the next step in the problem of transport.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's not like fossil fuel extraction is that energy efficient anyway. It's certainly not. It's certainly not monetary efficient. It's not efficient in monetary value, is it? Because it's all subsidised.
Yeah. It is. But yeah, so you're right. It's creating hydrogen is energy intensive, but we are moving toward greener networks and infrastructure.
More efficient ways of making electricity.
We see those headlines all the time. Britain was powered by nothing but wind for 3 days, or
it's great.
Or Germany shut off all its coal, or France is doing this.
Yeah, well, France is all nuclear anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, they got it right. I'm pro-nuclear, as you know.
Yeah,
I think it's a wonderful thing, and
there are dangers to it, but
no, not as many dangers as there is in fossil fuels.
bloody coal, burning coal. The amount of people who are ill from
Digging in,
yeah, the
burning
amount of
coal.
people who are ill from atmospheric problems.
There's plenty of stats. You can all go look online and find them yourselves. I can't quote them, so I don't know them off the top of my head, but they're there. For something like for every 100 deaths in fossil fuels, there's 1 or 2 deaths when it comes to nuclear, and that includes the big nuclear disasters.
The thing with the big nuclear disasters is they are massive, and they are, you know, you can't diminish the problems that they cause, but they're so rare that you can record the damage they make.
Yeah.
Like Chernobyl, the obvious one, they picked up radioactivity in Wales because of it. But you can pick up coal particulates around the world, including Antarctica.
Yeah.
So if that's not a spread of a disaster, you know, it's all the same stuff, isn't it?
It's all the same stuff.
It's all the same stuff.
And they say, what about the radiation? The environment just gets on with it.
Yeah, it's us that suffer.
Yeah, wildlife doesn't live long enough for it to be an issue for them. They, you know, foxes, bears, whatever. They're around for 5-10 years.
It hasn't turned into Fallout, has it? Where's my 2-headed cows?
Yeah, we don't get that. There have been things come out and said, there's things evolving, isn't there? And I think maybe
but didn't they say it's more of
a
it's more of an evolution to evolution's probably a strong word.
Yeah.
But
adapting.
Yeah, they're adapting to survive in these highly radioactive areas. That's not to say that, you know, a nuclear catastrophe is acceptable, because it's not. But it's quite easily upplayed, isn't it? It's quite easily.
They're not sterile environments, are they?
No.
There's still trees growing. There's still birds tweeting, and the impact was huge, and it was terrible things to happen,
and it was horrible for people.
Yeah,
you know, that's something that shouldn't be underestimated. Is the impact on individuals. You know, numbers are numbers. You know, you say a population of people, but every single number that's counted is a whole life.
Yeah,
and that is devastating. But so is asthma for every single child in central London. You know, so is, you know, people dying from breathing issues, from coal inhalation, from all that stuff.
From the atmosphere's changing, climate change.
Yeah. By the way, this isn't a debate channel. We're not here to debate you lot about this. This is me and Joe talking. You can have your opinions, and they're fine.
They're fine.
You believe whatever you want to believe. This is what we believe.
Yeah.
Just to
caveat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are turning more green with energy. Wind, sea, solar, nuclear. In turn, doesn't matter if it's a lot of electricity to make hydrogen. It's green electricity, and the processes are only ever going to get more efficient.
That's exactly it. If it costs, I don't know how to describe this, but if it costs 10 joules of energy and £1 to move you a mile, it doesn't cost a mile, but to move you a mile in a car, and it costs £2 and 20 joules of energy to move you in hydrogen, but that hydrogen came from nuclear and wind and solar. Hydrogen's the obvious answer, isn't it? It's the obvious answer to me.
And then we and the chairman or the CEO, Mr. JCB himself,
he's well into it.
He's well into it, and I think all of his plant now is, or it's all going to be hydrogen.
Well, he's really developing. He's not just adapting. They're not just adapting. They're not just adapting petrol engines anymore, are they?
They're building
they're building new hardware for these hydrogen to run on hydrogen.
But what they're doing is building something which is familiar.
Yeah, so they're building it on a familiar platform almost, aren't they? They're it's got spark plugs and it's got pistons and it's oil changes and it all makes sense.
Yeah. So
you can literally take it to a garage and go, it needs a service, and the bloke needs to look up a manual and go, it needs this much of this oil and it needs these ancillaries.
Yeah. Like any car or any truck they work on, they all look it up, don't they?
Yeah. You just look it up.
Garage owners don't. Oh, they know their stuff, but
they know how to use a spanner.
They don't know every single car,
unless they're a specialist. Unless they're a Jag or a BMW. But
that's exactly it. They'll be able to work on these engines, which you can't work on an electric.
Which is something that I think they're starting to realise in the geothermal world. In thermal energy production. I watched a video on it the other day. I can't remember who did it now. Might have been Simon Clark. A YouTuber called Simon Clark. He's a climate scientist. And he said a lot of firms are realising that all these coal miners and all these coal mining firms, well, their whole experience is digging underground. So, and that's all geothermal technology, is just drilling big holes underground.
Yeah.
So the expertise is technically already there. It's just not been moved to the new technology.
It's got to look at countries like Iceland. I don't know what percentage it is, but when I went there,
huge percent,
loads
of it.
It's
like all of it.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly, but it's like all of it. All of their energy is geothermal.
Yeah.
There are restrictions to it. I think on this Simon Clark video, he was saying that you need to. In the UK, you've got to have a hole like 7 kilometres deep to get.
Well, because of where we are.
Yeah, because there's no like magma chambers or hot spots.
Right. Yeah.
Because they don't drill into the magma chambers. They don't drill into magma, but they drill a hole down into porous rock that is then hot, and that's where the heat comes from. But it doesn't. In the UK, you've got to drill down like 7 kilometres, which is where the cost is. Yeah, it's in that drilling.
That's a big hole.
It costs millions to drill down that deep.
Yeah,
which it would do, but we already spend billions on oil, sucking oil out of the ground at sea.
But once you've dug that hole, it's dug, isn't it?
Once you've dug the big hole,
you don't need to
pump water through. You can just keep pumping water through it
forever.
I don't know what the maintenance issues are. I'm sure holes collapse and you've got to keep drilling holes and stuff, but it just feels like we're at a point where we shouldn't be burning old algae to produce anything anymore. We shouldn't be.
Let's move on with it. Let's get on with getting onto hydrogen and
let's move to the future. Because the other thing is, and again, I'm going to reference a couple of things here, but I was watching a James May interview on the intercooler, and an internal combustion engine is a beautiful thing. It's an interesting, soulful way to propel yourself forward. It's a fascinating way to turn a shaft, because that's all you're doing. It's an amazing way to turn a shaft and to control the turning of that shaft. Yeah. Whereas an electric motor is a bit boring. There's no interest in it. Yeah. The technology is interesting, but the driving experience is not. So, we're human beings. We're not robots. we need some beauty in our lives,
Yeah.
don't we?
Yeah.
We need something that gets you fizzy. And a hydrogen supercharged V8, I reckon, will keep you fizzy.
And yeah, electric cars are fast. They can put their power down instantly, and that's all great. But where's the soul in that?
The other problem with that is that I can see coming is the cost of tyres. I can see the cost of tyres being frightening soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're having to go through them so much, or they're going to be harder
because
wearing.
we know somebody who's got a Volkswagen ID4,
Yeah.
and the tyres on it are horrifying.
Yeah.
I knew somebody who had a Jaguar SVR and F-Pace SVR. So it's a 650 horsepower supercharged V8 SUV. And he blew a tyre on it within... Well, didn't blow a tyre. He got a puncture within 3 months of owning it. And the tyres on that, I seem to remember, were 280 quid. Now, bearing in mind, this is a high-performance luxury SUV.
Yeah.
To get a tyre for a Volkswagen ID4, which is the equivalent of, I would say, the equivalent of a Renault Kadjar, which is, I've had a Renault Kadjar, and the tyres are the same price, because they've got to hold the weight of the thing.
Yeah.
I think tyre prices, the cost of tyres, is going to kill the second-hand market, especially with electric vehicles.
Yeah.
If you've got an electric vehicle, you go, right, it's a Renault Kadjar equivalent vehicle, but it's going to need 1,200 quid's worth of tyres in a year, and within 5 years it might need basically a new fuel tank, which is 10 grand. That electric vehicle is going to be worthless. You know, it's going to be worthless.
Yeah, because they can only do so many charge cycles, can't they? These batteries.
Yeah, they can. The batteries can only do so many charge cycles, and the tyres. Well, people put good tyres on their cars, but the only people that I know who put good tyres on their cars are those with company cars.
Yeah,
because
no one else can afford.
Because nobody else can afford 270 quid per corner.
Yeah.
For new tyres, for Michelins or Pirellis.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I haven't put branded tyres on any car. I don't think they've always been mid-range or Chinese.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that's true. And thinking about other modes of transportation, motorbikes, they're not going to get on with batteries. I remember
you can't put a battery in a motorbike; it's too heavy.
When I had the cafe and not the cafe, the calf. When I had the calf, and
it was nearly a cafe.
It was nearly a cafe, but it's a calf.
It was
a biker calf, wasn't it?
It was a biker cafe
owned by a guy who's not really into bikes.
No, I don't like bikes. I'm trying. I'm working him.
You're
but
trying.
We're not there yet. I bought him helmet and gloves at Christmas.
Yeah.
And I think that was enough for a year. I pushed him enough. I've got to wait till next year before we get him on a bike. It's happening.
It's happening.
He just doesn't know it yet, and he's resisting with everything he can.
So Henry Cole. That's his name, isn't it?
Yeah.
Henry Cole. So he's the guy who does... he has TV channel... not a channel, TV show.
He does sort of bikes in shed stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah. Buy, find, sell. I can't remember the names of it now. Terrible.
I can't remember.
But he's got a couple of TV shows, and he comes to the CAF with a... What was it? It was a Harley Davidson.
A Harley Davidson Live Wire, I think they called it.
So that was an electric bike. And on the show, you see him driving around the lakes, having a great time.
Which I'm sure they're a really fun bike.
Yeah.
You know, there's no such thing as a boring motorbike, I'd say.
But what you don't see is behind the scenes, that bike's getting put into the back of a van to go to the next location because it's only got a 90-mile range.
Well...
And it takes all day to charge. So, and from what I know from bikers, you don't go out for a 90-mile ride.
No,
if you're going out for the day riding,
50 miles.
Yeah, you go out all day riding.
Yeah.
And you can't do that with this Harley electric bike. And I don't know how much further the technology's developed. This was a few years ago now, but I can't see it being...
I think they've dropped it. I don't know if
that
they've
much
dropped
more.
it, but...
because bikes, you can't carry these huge batteries around with you, can you? There's no space for them.
You just can't... There's not enough space on a bike to put a battery.
Yeah.
There are great ideas out there. I've seen seen stuff where you can change the battery, but that requires infrastructure, and infrastructure is horribly expensive.
Yep. And
It's
that'd be a perfect
horribly
candidate
expensive.
for the hydrogen engine, a motorbike.
Yeah, I think that would work well.
Yeah.
I think that if the thing is also is with a hydrogen engine, if it only takes as long as it takes to charge to fill a bike up, to fill up with petrol. If we do get to that point with it, I mean, I've never even seen a hydrogen station, so I don't know. But if it is a 2-3 minute stop, in you go, pasty, off you pop again.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
And with that, it wouldn't matter so much if you only got 90, 100, 120 miles out of the tank. There are motorbikes out there that do get less than that. It's that stopping and waiting for 2 hours for it to charge up. But then saying that, when you had the CAF, you looked at getting chargers put in, and it was basically not worth it.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, you need to. Well, it goes back to the infrastructure.
Yeah, it was thousands of pounds of infrastructure work, wasn't it?
The charging points themselves, I think Tesla at the time were doing a very good deal.
Weren't they giving them to you?
Almost giving them away.
Yeah.
I can't remember the details if they're actually free or it's basically free.
Ooh.
But the problem was the actual infrastructure.
The cables coming to the yard.
Yeah. And they're not running off 13-pin, 30 amps, these cables.
No.
These super fast chargers are...
They're huge, 100 amp things.
Yeah.
100 amp 3-phase, frightening things.
Yeah. Juice.
Yeah. And you need 5 of them to make it worth doing.
Yeah.
Didn't you? Yeah. Battery electric vehicles feel like the solution for a problem that most people don't have.
Yeah.
And they certainly don't have these problems in places like Amsterdam.
No.
Amsterdam will have no need for battery electric vehicles.
No.
Because you don't buy a vehicle in Amsterdam or Paris, I'm going to say. You might do in London.
Well, even like they're just really discouraging any sort of driving, aren't they?
Yeah.
There's a real attack on drivers with its ULEZ and ultra ULEZ.
I don't know if it's an attack. I think it makes sense. The issue with it is that you still need to be able to get out of these cities.
Yeah.
Which is why you're going to have a diesel Vectra.
Yeah.
Isn't it? You have a diesel Vectra to go shopping in the out of town shopping centres. But in a city, you wouldn't not use public transport. The issue that I see is that public transport in the UK is horribly... We said this in the first episode.
Yeah.
Public transport's horribly expensive.
It is.
Horribly expensive.
It is. But, and I was going to say, and I'm just thinking of this now, the world is getting bigger again.
Yeah.
And I'll explain that because we've always seen the world's getting smaller, it's getting more connected. People, with the things like the internet and 24/7 banking and all this sort of stuff.
The connections between countries and cities,
Yeah.
the connections have never been tighter.
But
To get from Manchester to Limoges is they say an hour and 40-minute flight, but I've never been on the plane longer than an hour and a half.
yeah.
That it's an hour and a half away, but it's either end.
But bringing back to the point of the world's getting larger again. And again, I'm just spitballing here, thinking of it as I go along.
Sending it out.
With more and more working from home, hybrid working, not having to go out and do the daily commute, suddenly that 20, 30 miles, 40 miles, 50 miles that you might have driven to work and back again, whereas before it was just part of your daily life, that might become a day out once again.
Yeah.
That might become a big thing to do that. Because,
Yeah.
we go back to just sort of my parents' generations. They're sort of late 60s, 70s now. And they'd say, for the journeys which we take for granted, to travel down 2-3 miles on the motorway would have taken all day before, wouldn't it? Like,
Yeah,
no motorways,
my
no
grandparents have
infrastructure.
said exactly the same.
And we just do that all the time now. It's not a problem. But maybe people will start doing less of these longer journeys with the hybrid working and the working from home. And then when they do actually do these big these journeys, they'll feel big again. They'll feel further away.
When I was down
You know
south,
what I mean?
yeah, absolutely, exactly. When I was down south, yeah, my grandparents said to go to London for the day, to drive from Southend to London was a big deal.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to London today. And my granddad has actually said in the past that you wouldn't expect your car to make it. You would expect it to break down and have to fix it somehow on the way there.
Yeah.
I don't know how or why, but, you know, it's just things that you can fix with screwdrivers and spanners. But he would say you would expect it to break down on the way. Whereas I spent the last 10 years of my life, in fact, the last 15 years of my life, not including the last year or so, and a stint in the middle where I lived in France, driving to London every single day. My job was driving from Southend to North London every day. Every single day I did that. Then I went to France, and then I came back to England, and then my job was again driving to London every single day.
Yeah.
And it's, those normal 40, 50, 60 mile journeys may, as you say, they may become a big thing again.
Yeah.
You know, they may become a big thing. I think there's also you have different heads for different things. You know, like, I won't think anything of driving to Barrow from here. Drive down South Lakes, North Lakes, driving to Northumberland, doesn't really matter for work.
Yeah.
I was driving it, you know, I'd do 100-mile round trip, 200-mile round trip if it come to it, for work. But if to do it for myself or for me and my wife to go and do something, it's like, oh, it's quite a journey, you know.
Day out in Barrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, it is actually. Think about it, because I wouldn't drive down a Barrow. Look, because there's nothing wrong with Barrow, but it's just an awkward place to get to.
Yeah, but for work, I'll just I'll go back. Yeah, if I get a phone call from the office, you've got a job in Barrow today, you go, yeah, no problem. What time?
Yeah.
But yeah, if there was a thing to go and look at, you know, a boat trip to take down there.
Yeah.
There's a zoo 3/4 of the way on the way there, and my wife quite likes animals, and to go there, it's like, oh, right, okay, we need to leave at this time in the morning to get there. You plan it. So I think that is coming back. Because when I was in France is huge. And in France, you'd think nothing of driving an hour and a half to go to the shops.
Yeah.
You know, and it's different heads for different things.
Little slurp of the tea. You're an Earl Grey drinker.
Earl Grey.
You like it Earl Grey weak and black, don't you?
Lovely drop of Earl Grey. I quite like Lady Grey as well.
Lady Grey, yeah. I'm just a Yorkshire tea fan. If Yorkshire tea wants to send me any tea.
Well, I mean, I'll take Yorkshire tea if they want to send... I mean, Twinings might send us some Lady Grey.
Oh, they might do.
You never know.
You never know. And I like my tea bag in.
He likes his tea bag in.
It stays in there. I've got a cup on the table at the moment. It's been stewing for about 10-15 minutes.
It's like a thick, milky soup.
Oh, it's lovely.
That's what he's got there.
It's lovely. It's just the lifeblood of me anyway. Yeah. 3-4 cups of tea in the morning, and then a couple in the afternoon. I don't tend to drink them in the evening. I do try and not have too many cups of tea after 5.
I drink tea in the evening.
Yeah.
I'm a heavy coffee drinker in the morning. A strong, long black is what I like. Not a black coffee. I'll have something I learnt that the French drink. The French don't drink espresso, so to say. They'll do an espresso, but then they'll top it up with water, but more than a lungo. It's like half a cup of coffee is what we would have.
Right.
But it's strong. I like those. I'll have 3 or 4 of them in the morning, and then as much tea as my bladder will cope with. As much tea. I will think nothing of having a cup of tea at the side constantly.
Yeah.
Which I never used to be. It's something I've developed.
Yeah.
I've developed a constant influx of tea. I start to worry if my bladder gets below about 3 gallon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're not going to the toilet every 45 minutes.
You've got to go. It's cleansing, isn't it? It's flushing. You need copious amounts of fluid in you.
Yeah.
And why not drink tea?
It's great stuff.
It's something that's developed as I got older.
I don't know why people don't. Some people don't like tea. I don't know why. I don't get coffee. I'll be honest with you. I don't get coffee.
Yeah, but I think that's got something to do with your.
Every now and again, I
career
do
in the
fancy.
cafe.
Yeah. I think I've been.
You spent so much time making coffee.
Yeah.
That it's put you off of it.
Every now and again, I do fancy one. I will have one. And
We'll have a breakfast coffee every now and again.
AKA cappuccino.
Wouldn't we?
But we call it a breakfast coffee.
Well, that's what the Italians think of it, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And,
You've got to agree with them, haven't you?
You've got to agree with the Italians.
Yeah. If you don't, then, well, I don't know.
They just get angry at you. Not that we know any Italians.
We don't know any.
Do we know any?
No, we just stereotyped an entire nation.
I've only ever been once, and that was to drive through.
You drove through it.
Oh, it was a big journey. That's a story for another day.
But, yeah, no, I don't quite get coffee, and There's a few people I kind of follow on social media. James Hoffman.
He's a great bloke.
I like him
I
for
love
his
passion for coffee.
his enthusiasm.
Yeah.
That's what I like to watch. I like watching him geeking out and being really enthusiastic. At the end of one of his videos, I don't sit there and go, I fancy a coffee.
No, and I don't either.
No.
But
I just love his
enjoyment
enthusiasm.
of somebody who's genuinely passionate about something they're doing.
Yeah.
It's a great thing to watch. And you don't get
yeah.
that on normal telly.
Yeah.
You've got to
watching
watch
it,
YouTube for that.
hearing it. Just anyone that's passionate and excited about anything, you get caught up in it, don't you?
Yeah.
And you just like, yeah, tell me more.
Tell me more
Can't
about
stand
it.
the stuff, but tell me more.
Yeah. No, I bloody love coffee. Yeah, 3 in the morning, and then teas throughout the day.
Yeah. There's this whole, I noticed over the last sort of 10 years, the whole like, you got to measure it out, you got to get your pressures right in your waters and all that sort of stuff. And
Yeah.
so it doesn't really matter that much.
I think it does. I like that you can do that.
Yeah.
But I'm so half-assed about most things that I do that I don't. I like that I always like knowing that there's more.
Yeah.
There's more places I could go to. It's a bit like the cooking thing we were talking about.
Yeah.
There's more places that I can go with cooking, but, you know, I'm not there. I like knowing that there's stuff I don't know.
Well, it's that saying, good enough is the enemy of perfection or something, isn't it? Is that what it is?
Something
Is that
like
the saying? What's wrong with good enough?
Perfection is the enemy of getting shit done,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Perfection is the enemy of finishing.
But
But
good enough is fine.
sometimes good enough is fine. Sometimes it's worth pushing for perfection.
Yeah.
The issue is when you push for perfection, you lose something. You lose enjoyment, I think.
Mm.
You know, sometimes you lose. There's a base level that is good enough.
Yeah.
Half-arsing is almost enough a lot of the time.
Never fully ask one thing.
No, half-arse many things.
Half-arse
Unless it
many
comes
things.
to breaks.
Well, no, yeah.
Yeah, breaks.
Fully ask breaks.
Yeah, I will always put 100% concentration into brakes.
But if you rebuild an engine,
What's a couple of mil between friends?
if the bolt fits, it might not be the right bolt with the right material.
Oh, I've got
Might not be designed to be torqued up to 190.
Yeah, might not need it.
It might be
not
designed
need
to
it.
hold on a bit of trim.
Yeah.
But it's put it together.
Let's just bung it back together and get it out on the road.
Does the engine turn over? It does.
Yeah,
It's fine.
I'm sure it's fine. It'll go again. Don't worry about it.
MOT's not checking for that. Please be responsible when fixing your cars. Yeah, I think we'll bring it to an end there today. And what are you doing for the rest of your day? Lunch.
I think it's lunchtime. Yeah, it is lunchtime.
Lunch.
Matinal.
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 It feels like a melt kind of day, maybe,
Ooh,
or
steaky melt.
steak melt, or maybe some chicken.
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 Well, we'll find out. Anyway, that's it for today.
See you next time.
Thank you. Ta-da.
Where the bad pianos start to show, keys all out of tune, just watch 'em go. Welcome to Adam and Joe talking nonsense on the Outside Scoop podcast show.